Hey, good morning, everybody. Namaste. It's time for another edition of Mantra Monday. How are you? It's spring. Yay! My favorite time of year, other than summer. So grateful for all the flowers that are blooming and the bees that are buzzing and the butterflies that are appearing, right? We have to be grateful for that. And I know people are always like, oh, it's so cold. When is it going to get warm? But it's springtime, and remember that this time of year, this season, is Krishna. In chapter 10, Krishna says, of seasons, I am the flower bearing spring. So this is a time of hope and renewal, and I've been seeing people express hopefulness around the internet. Um, about gatherings and so on, and I suppose if as long as we can do it safely, we're okay. So today we are continuing on with chapter 11, the universal form, and we're doing mantras or texts 43 and 44. Again, this chapter is called the universal form. So this is a continuation of the conversation between Prince Arjuna and Bhagavan Sri Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra right before this essentially a fratricidal war is about to go down, which once again, I always like to emphasize that Krishna and Arjuna have been trying to avoid this for years. But things have come to a head because the other side is absolutely not interested in brokering peace or compromise at all. They will not be satisfied until they see everyone dead on the side of the Pandavas. Now, to recap, you will recall that a few verses ago, Arjuna actually was given the vision to actually see what his destiny was going to be, and that he was actually going to be a survivor, but that all the soldiers on the Kuru side, right? That's the side that Duryodhan, right? The kind of the chief evil son of Dhritarashtra, right? Who's the head of the army, is running. All those people on that side would die, and then also even Arjuna saw all his soldiers, save for his brothers, would also um, be extinguished. So this universal form again has been able to give him, if you're just joining, a uh, mind-blowing vision of past, present, and future, all living entities in all time, all in the same place. Okay, I want to excuse my messy office, but I've got a lot of things that I'm preparing for you guys as an aside. So there we have it. All right, so let me just recap. Last week, Arjuna said, thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. So again, this is this mood of awe and reverence that Arjuna is expressing because, now he is seeing, what Krishna's actual position is, right? And he is expressing some, regret or remorse for perhaps having acted in an overfamiliar way. By the same token, this relationship that or this rasa, right, this mood, this mellow of love that Arjuna shares with Krishna is actually one of fraternity. This is an actual true relationship. So we have these relationships here on this earth, right? In this material world, we have brotherly relationships, brotherly, sisterly. We have relationships with our parents, mother, father. We have relationships, conjugal relationships. We have boyfriends, girlfriends, and so on. So as is above, so is below. So this is the original, Krishna is the original source of all relationships. So if there's any love in this world, it is a reflection of that eternal love that we share, full of variety in the spiritual world. Okay, the preamble. Now let's get to the text. Pitāsi lokasya carācarasya tvam pūjyaś gurur garīyān na tvat-samo asti abhyadhikaḥ kuto loka-traye apratima-prabhāva. Word for word translation. Pitā, the Father, asti, you are, lokasya, of all the world, cara, moving, acarasya, and non-moving, tvam, you are, asya, of this, pūjyaḥ, worshipable, also, gurū, master, garīyān, glorious, never, tvat-samaḥ, equal to you, asti, there is. Abhyadhikaḥ, greater, kutaḥ, how is it possible? Anyaḥ, other, loka-traye, in the three planetary systems. Also, apratima-prabhāva, immeasurable power. Translation. Let me get a little sip of water here. Hopefully you have your Mantra Monday mug. Shout out to Karina. Okay, you are the Father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? So I'm going to read the purport, but before I do, there's just something that jumps out at me here, where Arjuna says, no one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. So this is a reference. Remember, this is a bhakti text. This is devotional service. This is personalism. This is not the Mayavadi school that believes that one can actually merge one's individuality into the impersonal Brahman, right? There actually is no such thing as the impersonal Brahman. That light, that Brahma Jyoti, it's actually the bodily effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's something that one can perceive when one attains that level of yogic skill. It's something that Krishna actually allows. But never is there a time that we cease to be, that we cease to exist. We are always individuals. So I just think it's very cool and very interesting how Arjuna actually puts these two concepts together. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you, because there is this idea, this false idea in the Mayavadi school that somehow we are equal to God, and that, somehow by merging into that, then we become God. We have the same qualities of God, but we cannot become God. That position is taken. So here we go to the purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is worshipable as a father is worshipable for his son. He is a spiritual master because he originally gave the Vedic instruction to Brahma, and presently he is also instructing Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Therefore, he is the original spiritual master, and any bona fide spiritual master at the present moment must be a descendant in the line of the cyclic succession stemming from Krishna. Without being a representative of Krishna, one cannot become a teacher or spiritual master of transcendental subject matter. Okay, so here is a explanation of the dislipic succession, the bona fide sampradaya in the line of devotional service, in the line of bhakti yoga. So it is a system. It is a system of knowledge being passed down originally from Krishna, right, to Brahma, and then, or also Krishna, sometimes he is instructing Vivishwan, and then it's going down, 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 teacher, student, teacher, student, teacher, student, teacher, student. So this is an inherently personal teaching method. It is an oral system, at least originally it is in an oral system of teaching. In this age, because we don't really remember much, kindly things have been written down for us. Without being a representative of Krishna, one cannot become a teacher or spiritual master of transcendental subject matter. So in other words, you have to walk the walk. You can't just talk the talk. You have to walk the walk. Of course, this is not a put down of other religious traditions. It is not, provided you are actually following a bona fide system. The Lord is being paid obeisances in all respects. He is of immeasurable greatness. No one can be greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, because no one is equal to or higher than Krishna within any manifestation, spiritual or material. Everyone is below him. No one can excel him. This is stated in the Svetasvartara Upanishad 6:8. Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, na tvat-samas abhyadhikaḥ drishyate. The Supreme Lord Krishna has senses and a body like the ordinary man, but for him there is no difference between his senses, his body, his mind, and himself. Foolish persons who do not perfectly know him say that Krishna is different from his soul, mind, heart, and everything else. Krishna is absolute. Therefore, his activities and potencies are supreme. It is stated that although he does not have senses like ours, he can perform all sensory activities. Therefore, his senses are neither imperfect nor limited. No one can be greater than him, no one can be equal to him, and everyone is lower than him. So, well, there you have it. This is, again, another way to understand that as embodied living entities encased in this mortal coil, our senses are definitely limited. And as you get older, as you start to age, you definitely realize that your eyesight dims, you're not able to run, as you did when you were a young person. Bending, picking things up off the ground is more difficult. So many of these things, maybe our hearing is starting to go, but Krishna, of course, doesn't experience this at all. So this part of the purport right here is zoning in on the fact that people may mistake, can mistake, do mistake the Lord while he is acting out these earthly pastimes, this Leela, simply to attract the conditioned souls to go back home, right? Because, happiness is attractive, right? And Krishna is supremely happy in every way. Not to mistakenly think that Krishna is just an ordinary human being, even though he plays in that way. His original form is two-handed. So this is a nice illustration to say that we, right, men and women, or man in proper English, Manu, is made in the image of God, right? There's a lot of concepts here, things that we have been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks now, all being woven together in this verse. The knowledge, strength, and activities of the Supreme Personality are all transcendental, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, Evam Yo Viti Tattvataha, Tvati Deham Punar Janma, Naitimam Eti Surjuna. Whoever knows Krishna's transcendental body, activities, and perfection after quitting his body returns to him and doesn't come back again to this miserable world. Therefore, one should know that Krishna's activities are different from others. The best policy is to follow the principles of Krishna. That will make one perfect. It is also stated that there is no one who is master of Krishna. Everyone is his servant. The Chaitanya Charitamrita confirms Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara Sava Britya. Only Krishna is God and everyone else is his servant. Everyone is complying with his order. There is no one who can deny his order. Everyone is acting according to his direction, being under his superintendence. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, he is the cause of all causes. Now, yesterday was Gora Purnima. Yesterday was the appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? This is the great Vaishnava holiday where we celebrate the avatar of Krishna as a blend of Srimati Radharani and his original self, right? This is the incarnation of the Lord who came to teach devotional service and who was known for his golden luster, his bodily beauty, and his humility. Lord Chaitanya, he didn't come, in this mood, right, of Krishna, still approachable, right, two-handed form. He actually came to teach devotional service, bhakti yoga, in this very troubled age, and his earthly pastimes only lasted 48 years before he disappeared. And because it was such an auspicious day yesterday, you notice Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always appears in the springtime. Krishna never misses a beat. He's always so on point, right? Renewal, hope, regeneration, rebirth, come home. I spent some time reading in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj, so I want to present to you another verse which may appear to contradict this position that has been stated right here. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Okay, another sip of water. These teachings are deep and complex and nuanced, and we are persons and we have complexities and aspects to our personality. So why would we think God would be any different, right? So many times we have this very kind of one-dimensional or fundamental view of God, but the scriptures, the mantras, the Vedas really, push our understanding by going into great depth and detail and actually allowing us to get insight, a true inner understanding of the Lord's feelings, of his thinking process. So I want to blow your mind with that. So text 44, Tasmat-pranamya pranidaya kayam prasadaye tvam isham idyam pittiva putrasya sakeva sakyu priyaya harsi deva sodam. Tasmat, therefore, pranamya, offering obeisances, pranidavya, laying down, kayam, the body, prasadaye, to beg mercy, tvam, unto you, aham, I, isham, unto the Supreme Lord, idyam, worshipable, pitā, like a father, kutrasya, with a son, saka like a friend, sakyu, with a friend, priya, a lover, priyaya, with the dearmost, are harsi, you should, deva, my lord, sudam, tolerate. Translation, you are the Supreme Lord to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, or a friend tolerates the impertinence of a friend, or a wife tolerates the familiarity of her partner, Please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. Purport: Krishna's devotees relate to Krishna in various relationships. One might treat Krishna as a son, or one might treat Krishna as a husband, as a friend, or as a master. Krishna and Arjuna are related in friendship. As the father tolerates, or the husband or a master tolerates, so Krishna tolerates. So this is a nice analogy or a nice parallel that is drawn here, right? And we've all been in this situation. We're married, right? Ladies, and your husband, he just acts like a brat sometimes, right? He just crosses the line, but you tolerate it, right? You tolerate it, at least to a certain degree, because that's your husband, right? With another guy, you wouldn't tolerate, certain things he might say, or certain cheeky behavior, but with your husband, sometimes you'll give him a pass, right? Uh, so, or parents, a father, for example, right? The father is making sacrifices and he's giving his son everything, and then Mr. Big for his britches is impudent to his father. So sometimes, the father will discipline, but sometimes the father will tolerate, right? A little impudence. Uh, or friendships, right? Sometimes your friend uh, crosses over the line, is cheeky, loses their temper, says things they shouldn't be saying. Maybe makes a comment about your outfit that you don't appreciate, right? But you don't break the friendship off because of that. You just let it go, You think of all that you've been through together, all the good times that you've been together, all the bad times you've been together, and you let it go. So God is like that, right? We are his very cheeky children. He's given us absolutely everything. He's given us the run of the place, and what do? We're ungrateful, right? We're disrespectful to each other. We trash our environment, but somehow, uh, Krishna is tolerant to a degree, at least, of these infractions, hoping that we will wake up and understand and appreciate the depth of love of that he has for us, for all of us, that is manifested in the things that he has given us: sunlight, water, air, beauty, body, food to eat, so many things. So, that being said, I was reading through the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita yesterday. This is actually three books in one. This was written by or compiled by Krishnadas Kaviraj, and it was finished in the month of May and June in the year 1615 in the Western calendar, right? So right during the Renaissance, Chaitanya disappeared, you know, uh, during what we would call in the West the Renaissance. So this chapter is called, in Adi Lila chapter 4, it's called The Confidential Reasons for the Appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I found these beautiful, beautiful verses which reveals the mind of Krishna, which reveals the mind of the Lord. So here I'm going to read verses 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. Okay. Aishvarya janate shaba jagat mishrita Aishvarya sitila premi nahi mora prita amare ishvara mane apanake hina tara premi vasa aminaha I adina Amakita ye bhaktabache ye bhave, tare se bhave bhaji e mora svabhave. Ye yata mam prapabhadyante tam sataiva bhajami aham, ama vartmanu vartante manushya parta sarvasaha. Mora putra mora saka mora pranapati e bhave ye more kare suda bhakti. Apanake Badamane Amare Samahina Se Babeha I Ami Tahara Adina. Okay, so what does all that mean? Krishna, this is Lord Krishna thought. All the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but love weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. This is Krishna thinking to himself. I'm going to read that again. All the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but love weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. If one regards me as a supreme lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. In whatever transcendental mellow my devotee worships me, I reciprocate with him. That is my natural behavior. In whatever way my devotee surrenders unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of pitā. So that is a reference to the 4th chapter in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Then Krishna is singing to himself, if one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great and considering me his equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. Devotional service rendered to me by the living beings revives their eternal life. O my dear damsels of Raj, your affection for me is your good fortune, for it is the only means by which you have attained my favor. Okay, so I want to focus in on this. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, 3 kinds of devotional service are described, namely bhakti, ordinary devotional service, sudha bhakti, pure devotional service, and vidya bhakti, mixed devotional service. When devotional service is executed with some material purpose involving fruitive activities, mental speculations, or mystic yoga, it is called mixed or adulterated devotional service. Besides bhakti yoga, the Bhagavad Gita also describes karma yoga, jnana yoga, and dhyana yoga. Yoga means linking with the Supreme Lord, which is possible only through devotion. Fruitive activities ending in devotional service, philosophical speculation ending in devotional service, and practice of mysticism ending in devotional service are known respectively as karma yoga, jnana yoga, and dhyana yoga. But such devotional service is adulterated by the 3 kinds of material activities. For those grossly engaged in identifying the body as the self, pious activity or karma yoga is recommended. For those who identify the mind with the self, philosophical speculation or jnana yoga is recommended. But devotees standing on the spiritual platform have no need of such material conceptions or adulterated devotion. Adulterated devotional service does not directly aim for love of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, service performed strictly in conformity with the revealed scriptures is better than such Vidya Bhakti because it is free from all kinds of material contamination. It is executed in Krishna consciousness solely to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are spontaneously devoted to the Lord and have no aims for material gain are called attracted devotees. They are spontaneously attracted to the service of the Lord and they follow in the footsteps of self-realized soul. Their pure devotion, or sudha bhakti, manifested from pure love of Godhead, surpasses the regulative principles of the authoritative scriptures. Sometimes loving ecstasy transcends regulative principles. Such ecstasy, however, is completely on the spiritual platform and cannot be imitated. The regulative principles help ordinary devotees rise to the stage of perfect love of Godhead. Pure love for Krishna is the perfection of pure devotion, and pure devotional service is identical with spontaneous devotional service. Flawless execution of regulative principles is exhibited in the Vaikuntha planets. By strictly executing these principles, one can be elevated to the Vaikuntha planets. But spontaneous, pure loving service is found in Krishna Loka alone. All right, so that was, I'm sure, very esoteric, but what I found so charming and so sweet here is that Krishna is explaining that the only way he can be controlled, the only way that he can be purchased is not through big fancy offerings, is not through a big display, uh, is not through an act of being pious, or is not even in this mood of on reverence that now Arjuna has moved into, because he says right here that it does not satisfy him, right? He knows, again, he knows that he's majestic. He knows, what he's got going on, but he is attracted to those loving exchanges with the devotees that see him as their subordinate, right? That is what opens up the floodgates to a more intimate relationship. Krishna wants to he wants to feel he is his most relaxed, I guess you could say. He is his transcendentally happiest when there is that intimacy there. That is what he wants. That is what he really wants, is that intimacy. He does not like to be constantly reminded of what his position is, right? I kind of mentioned that before with celebrities, for example. So George Harrison, he's a good example of a great devotee, a great bhakta of Krishna. So, of course, he's been the most famous band in the world, couldn't go anywhere. But if he was with someone and someone started going on, about his status and all of that, he would just withdraw. He would just shut down, withdraw, and retreat. He liked to be around those persons who treated him as an equal, who just treated him as a normal guy. He wanted to be able to relate to people uh, in a very human way, right? Thoughts, emotions, exchanges, all of that. But when you put someone on a pedestal, then all of that comes to a screeching halt. So where does that come from, right? Where does that feeling come from? We all feel that way. We may not be a celebrity, but there's certain environments and certain people, hopefully, that we feel more comfortable in. Or even if you're an animal lover, because you are accepted for who you are on the inside and not what you have, right? Not what you appear to be, not for your money or your prestige or your beauty or all of these different things. And you can feel that. And Krishna is no different from that. So I just thought this was so sweet. If one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great, and considering me his equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. Of course, this is not a cheap thing, right? Um, inherent in that relationship and those different rasas and those different relationships are actually giving, right? Giving to the Supreme Lord, not just asking for different things. Give me my daily bread. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz, right? Or all these different things. That is not the mood. The mood is, I love this person. I want to give to this person. I want to make sure that they are properly fed, right? Mother Yasoda, they are bathed. They need to spend time with their father at the end of the day, or any of Krishna's uh, friends that he spends time with out in the pasture, out in the field. They are all relating, in this way. So I just wanted to bring that up in this chapter of the universal form, because I think it's important uh, to keep, to keep a perspective on what the end game is here. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for being here. In the chat, I've put some different links. If you want to get text alerts before I go live, you can opt in with for SMS text alerts at akayanimusic.com/mantra-Mondays. If you like what I do here on this channel and you get something out of it, you can also make a donation to paypal.me/akayanimusic. What else can I say other than I thank you very much for being here today? If you ever have any questions, don't be shy. I'm more than happy to answer questions. I will see you next Monday for another edition of Mantra Monday. It will already be the end of March, practically March 29th. Also, look out, I've got a birthday celebration coming up, and I'm dropping a new mix of Like Fire. So that will be coming up in just a few weeks. We're going to have another dance off on Saturday, April 10th, exclusively on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, you can follow me at Instagram. I'll just put my handle here. Hermione_musical_yoga. That's my Instagram account. And I wish you all, a sane and beautiful rest of your week and a happy spring equinox. Thank you for taking the detour with me, the time to understand the mind of Sri Krishna through the eyes of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, have a great rest of your day, everyone.